Hello all, welcome to Paritranaya IAS Academy. So today we shall give an exercise to our brain. So no doubt each one of us, we are engaged in our day-to-day preparation in one or the other way. We give exercise to our brain, but today we shall try with a different exercise. Okay, different exercise. So I'll ask you a number to memorize. So will you do it? Okay, so spare your 2 minutes of time and try to do it. Okay, so can you please memorize this number? 26195001. 26195001. Okay, you can even note it down as well. So now I will remove this number. I'll remove this number. If I ask you to recall this number, so will you be able to recall it? Okay, so all of you are confident to recall it, right? So what is the number? 26195001. So supposedly if I ask you to recall the number after a week, if I ask you after a week that what was the number which I had displayed on the board, will you be able to answer? Yes. Okay, so few of you will be able to answer it. Good. So after a year, if I ask you to recall the number which I had written on the board today, so will you be able to recall? Yes, very few. Good. Okay, good. So the same thing happens with our actual preparation as well. So we read a lot of material. So while reading, we feel that we have understood the concept. While memorizing, we feel that we'll be able to comfortably recall the things. But after a period of few weeks or few months, so when we start reading that subject again, when we encounter the material which we had read before, we feel that it is completely fresh, because it is very difficult for us to recall, and we feel that the information which we are going through is fresh. So what is the major reason for this? The major reason for this is how you store the information. Okay, so the human brain is very fascinating. So how you store the information makes all the difference. Now I'll write the number. What is that number? 26195001. Now most of us, when we ask or whenever we are required to memorize this number, so what is the approach that we use? The most common approach used, commonly used approach is what? Rehearsal method. So in this rehearsal method, what we'll do? 26195001, 26195001, 26195001. So this is the method which we use what? To retain it. Okay, retain it. So gradually when you practice it for a long time, then definitely it will go into your long-term memory. But after a few days, it will vanish. Okay, it will vanish. Now, rather than doing this rehearsal method, if we try to attach some meaning to the numbers which are present over here, then we can retain the things for a very long period of time. So the psychology says that whenever you want to register the incoming information, whenever you want to register the incoming new information, if you try to establish a link between the information which already exists in your brain, then such a information can be retained for a very long period of time. Such a information which you have registered will be very intact. Okay, very intact. But how to attach meaning to it? I'll just demonstrate with the help of this example. The same technique can be applied to every subject. Okay, every subject of UPSC as well. Now what I will do, I'll try to organize the information. So always look at the brain. So how does the brain remember the information? Whenever you present some information in the form of a story, the brain can retain that information for a very long period of time. That is why, so whenever we watch films, the story of the film is very easily retained by us. But when it comes to classroom lectures, if it is 1 hour class, then hardly we will be able to retain the things of about 5 minutes. Okay, maximum 5 minutes. Why? Because the information, how it has been presented. Okay, no doubt there are some great faculty members also who present the information in the form of a movie as well. So really hats off to them. But majority of the time it happens that we'll not be able to register or comprehend the information completely. So here I'll try to attach the meaning by what? Reorganizing the information. So what I will do, I'll just make a split here. I'll make one split here. I'll make one split here. Okay. Are you able to establish any connection with this new number and any information which you already have? I think few of you might have done this, okay, or few of you might have been able to connect to this. But for the rest all, what we can do, I'll attach a meaning. So already have some information. What is that information? 26 January 1950. So what is this? This is our Republic Day. This is our Republic Day. So what was the number that we were supposed to memorize? 26195001. But what was the information which I already had in my brain? January 26, 1950. January 26, 1950. So now what happened? I attached a meaning to this number. I attached a meaning to this number. That 26 is the what? Date or day of the month. Next 01 is the month and 1950 is the year. So when I attach a meaning, now retaining this information will become very easy. Okay, it will be a fun-filled exercise. So even after 1 year, if I ask you the number which was displayed on the board, then very easily you will be able to recall the things. Very easily you will be able to recall the things. So this is a psychological strategy. So this strategy does not work only with the numbers. It works with every aspect, every subject. But what we require is, it requires a bit of patience. With that patience, if we work, then memorizing will become a what? Fun-filled exercise. Okay, fun-filled exercise. So to take an example of UPSC subjects itself. Okay, let me consider one example of, let us assume, polity. I'll consider one example of polity. Next, I'll take one more example of, let us assume, geography. Okay, geography. So there in polity, it can be applied to what? Many different chapters, but for time being, what I will do in polity, I will take about the special provisions. So all of you are aware about the special provisions, right? So which are the special provisions? 371A, 371B. So C, 371C, 371D, 371E, 371F, 371G. So few of you might also be able to connect with the state. So 371A deals with Nagaland, 371B deals with Assam, 371C deals with Manipur. Okay, DE deals with Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. F deals with Sikkim. G deals with Mizoram. Okay, so this is just one example. Now, how can we use that technique? That whenever we want to register the new information, if we try to establish a connection with the information which already exists in your brain, then the information retained will be intact and it can be retained for a very long period of time. Okay, long period of time. So here, let me consider the example of 371G. The same can be applied to what others as well, but 371G. So 371G is with respect to Mizoram. So what we'll do, so okay. Now in India, so this is the information that I want to retain. In India, Ram is revered. Okay. Okay. So we have what? Millions of devotees, Ram's devotees in India. Okay, Ram's devotees in India. But whenever as Ram is revered, generally when we are addressing Ram, we'll not call him as Ram, but with respect, we'll address him as Ram Ji. Ram Ji. Now, see, the new information and the information that is Ram and G already exists in our brain. So can we establish a connection? Yes. What is that connection? Whenever it is G, it should be Ram. In which state's in which Indian state's name do we have Ram? There is only one state, Mizoram. Okay, Mizoram 371G. So now what we have done? The incoming information 371G had to be associated with Mizoram, but thus that association it became easier. Why? Because we tried to establish a connection with the information which already existed in my brain. Okay, brain. So now recalling this will become easier. Similarly, we can build for each one of these. Okay, each one of these. So this is an polity example of polity. Similarly, what I will do, I will take an example of science and technology. Okay, science and technology. So in science and technology, again, we have many concepts. So one is generally UPSC focused on this. So what are the major constituents of LPG? So which are the major gases which are part of LPG? So there are many gases. Okay. So it's nitrogen, it's propane, it's butane, it's methane. There are many gases and we get confused. So LPG is there, natural gas is there. So natural gas consists of what all what constituents, and LPG consists of what all constituents. Generally we get confused. So what are the constituents of LPG? It is propane plus butane. Propane plus butane. Now, when we are learning only about LPG, it will not lead to any kind of confusion. But when we have a lot of other materials to be retained along with LPG, then it will lead to confusion. Now, to make it easier, what we will do, we want to register this new information with the information which already exists in my brain. So I'll create a small story. What is story? What is it LPG used for generally? LPG is used for liquid petroleum gas is used to cook food. Okay, cook food. So here we shall create an imaginary story. What is that story? In an imaginary story, one person will warn the other. Okay, let us assume owner of the house will warn his servant. What is that? If you do not prepare the food properly, I will kick you with my boot. Okay, I'll kick you with my boot. So we never promote what abusing and all, but just to make our memory intact, so we are just using it. So if the worker does not prepare the food properly using LPG, then the owner will kick him with the boot. See, now it becomes so easy. So LPG properly will become what? Propane. Boot will become butane. So now what was the incoming information that you wanted to register? The incoming information that you wanted to register is you wanted to associate propane and butane with LPG. But with the help of this story, owner warning that if you do not prepare the food properly, then I will kick you with my boot. So the association became easier. So what are the similar commonalities in these two examples or these three examples? In all the three examples, whether it was memorizing the number or whether associating 371G with Mizoram or associating propane and butane with LPG, the common thing was that the information was presented in a way that fascinates the brain. Similarly, if we make an effort and store every information in a way that fascinates our brain, then definitely our brain will start enjoying it. It will never become tired and it will retain the things for a very long period of time. And when we are able to retain and recall the things for a very long period of time, our confidence will be boosted and UPSC examination can be cracked in a very easy manner. Okay, so these are few of the techniques. In subsequent videos, we will be discussing about much more such techniques. And all these techniques, they have benefited me tremendously. And I think that such techniques will definitely benefit you as well. For all our further updates, subscribe to our channel and hit on the bell icon. Thank you.